Welcome to Satsang. Beautiful to be together, to be with all of you. We start Satsang always with a question that comes in from our family that joins us online from all over the world. And then we open up to any questions that anyone here has. So they'll put a microphone in the center of the room. Any questions that anyone has, feel free to just come up to the mic, share your name, share where you're from, and share your question. But first we'll start with one that's come from the online family. There are so many methods to control anger. Can you share a technique that you use to manage anger? So for me, there's 3, maybe more, really powerful techniques that I use personally. Thank God I don't have to use them all the time anymore, because anger, thankfully by God's grace, doesn't bubble up quite as much as it used to. But these are techniques that I use so frequently for anger, but not only for anger. Number 1, your breath. Super powerful. Whatever it is that's going on, anger, anxiety, frustration, fear, stress, all of that, if you can anchor in your breath and anchor low in your abdomen, right here, there's a beautiful energy center called the Swadhisthana chakra that's very low in our abdomen. It's just about 2 inches below the navel. And if you can anchor your breath here, automatically and immediately, it changes not just the emotions, but the entire nervous system along with it. Everything just quiets down. And you can see, even as you sit here, if you just start to be aware of the breath, really low in the abdomen. So you're not breathing from here, you're breathing from here. Low in the abdomen, deep. It anchors you, it grounds you, it pulls you out of sympathetic nervous system response in anger and aggression or fear. The second technique, so that's immediate in the moment you are angry or you're just about to become angry. But then we also need really good preventions. And the preventions are twofold. Number 1, a practice of meditation. What meditation does, in addition to taking us closer to awakening, closer to truth, closer to enlightenment, in addition to that, is it trains us to quite literally grab the space between a thought and an action. Between a thought and a thought. Between a stimulus and a reaction. So what happens with anger is we lose that space. Stimulus happens. We see something, we hear something, we experience something. And immediately, as though there's no space at all, we react. We yell, we hit, we fume. meditation trains our mind to grab the space. Do I need to react? Okay, somebody left an obnoxious message for me. Do I have to leave an obnoxious message back? Or do I have to go drown myself in a six-pack? Is there another option? Somebody says something that's rude. Do I have to yell back? Do I have to hit them? Can I grab the space? And meditation trains us to do that, because most of us are literally like Pavlov's dogs who simply, salivate at the sound of a bell. We become stimulus response machines. But that's not what we want to be. What we want to be is aware and conscious, grounded, anchored, beings of clarity. And meditation trains that. It trains us how not to just be impulsive. Most of what we say, most of what we do, not even just in our reactions to others, but in general, most of what we do without even thinking. We're like on autopilot all day long, what we speak, what we do. And it's very rare that we even stop and look at it. Is it appropriate? Is it kind? Is it beneficial? Is it spiritual? Is it in alignment with my highest, deepest truth? Meditation trains us to do that. So meditation is a fantastic and super powerful prevention for losing yourself in anger. But the other one is a kind of Gyan Yoga introspection of what is it that makes me angry? Because we all have our own triggers. Different things anger each of us. What are my triggers? What are the things that tend to make me angry? And then how can I work with those things in a meaningful way? Through therapeutic techniques, through introspection, through psychology, through letting it go, through so many different ways and modalities of healing. But we have to know what the triggers are. So that Gyan Yoga introspection. But then lastly, so we've got two in advance for prevention, meditation and that introspection, healing, contemplation of what it is that leads to anger. Then we have so far in the moment one, the breath. I'll give you another one in the moment. Very simple. One of my favorite techniques for anger and for so many of what we would call kind of negative emotions. I don't like the word negative because emotions are just windows, they're portals that show us something about ourselves. But emotions that cause us to contract, emotions that pull us off balance. Great technique for them. Just ask yourself one question, and one question only. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth getting angry over? Now, for most of us, the immediate reaction to that is, well, yeah, of course. Of course I should be angry. They were obnoxious to me. Of course I should be angry. She stole my idea, my report, my project, my husband, my job, whatever it may be. My money, my shoes. Of course I should be angry. But simply having a valid reason to be angry, simply having 100% consensus of everyone you ask, still doesn't mean it's worth it. But that's how most of us judge. We're like, well, everybody I told what you did said, yeah, I have a right to be angry. But having a right to be angry doesn't mean it's worth it. Because people are judging your anger on its merits. What they're saying is, yes, I agree with you, that person did something wrong. But what you're having to ask yourself is much deeper than that. It's not about, did that person actually do something wrong? It's about, is it worth it to me? To my heart rate, to my blood pressure, to all of the organs in my body that are now having a stress response, to the flooding of cortisol in my body and my brain, to my digestion, to my circulatory system, to my immunity. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to my spiritual practice? Because anger separates us. Anger puts us into objects or subject-object, but either way, we're both objects. You are the object that has created a problem for me as an object. This object was going somewhere. You have become a hurdle on the path. Or you've knocked me off the path. Or you've punctured my tires and I can't go anywhere. Whatever you may have done, anger causes separation. You are separate from me. You are an object to be removed from my path. I, therefore, am the object that needs to get somewhere on this path, needs to have what I want, achieve what I want to achieve. But spirituality says, no, we're not separate. A, we're not objects, but B, we're not separate. And anything that thrusts us into separation, an illusion, an objectification, is most definitely not worth it. So we have to get out of the question of, am I right, and would you agree with me, and isn't he being awful, into the very deep question, is it worth it? And the answer to that almost always is no. Not always, because there certainly are circumstances that we would call justifiable anger. War, violence, abuse, harm, oppression, injustice. These things should make us angry. The goal with these is not to not get angry. But here's the key. You want to be able to harness the energy of anger as a catalyst to spur you into right action, but you don't want the anger to paralyze you. So you have to get out still of the sympathetic nervous system stress response. You are useless to anyone when your body and your brain is being flooded with adrenaline. You're useless to anyone when your brain is in this contracted vision. We're useless to anyone when we are being reactive. But if those things make you angry, kind of harness that energy, like set it aside, bottle it up, while you let go, while you work with the mind to come back into peace. But then from a place of peace, of anchoring and of grounding, go back and open that cabinet where you've stored the anger at injustice and allow it to be a catalyst for action. Let it be that gets you off the couch, off the cushion, off your, soft rear end, and do something. So it can be a wonderful catalyst, a wonderful inspiration to really right wrongs, but only when I am not swept up in the waves of anger. So 2 in the moment, breath low in the abdomen, Swadhisthana chakra, deep. 2, simple question in the moment, is it worth it? Chances are the answer is no. And then 2 practices in a long-term way. Meditation and the introspection, contemplation, healing work of actually what triggers me. So those are my 4 favorite techniques. They're all ones that I use, and they work really well. Great. Other questions? Any question that anyone here has? Don't be shy. Okay, well, I'll ask another one that's come in advance. We have a whole list of them. How can someone successfully come out of addiction? Is true freedom even possible? Second question first. Yes, true freedom is absolutely possible. And I say this not theoretically, I say it specifically and personally. I know it from my life, from the addictions I've struggled with, and I know it from the lives of several others I know personally who struggled very deeply with addiction and have found freedom. How to do it. The first piece is to recognize that the addiction is not wrong or bad. You're never going to get free of something by shaming it. Every time you tell yourself, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I made a New Year's resolution not to drink, here it is the 4th of January, I'm already drunk, I'm useless, I can't keep a promise, I'm lazy. The shame itself erodes inner resolve. So never ever shame yourself. You're not trying to mess up your life. Whatever we do it because there is a part of us that thinks that that is actually the best thing for us. And so what's important is to recognize why we're doing it. What is it that I am looking to avoid, looking to numb, looking not to deal with? What is it? Sometimes it's purely physical. In America, we have a tragic, epidemic of opiate addictions from many people who end up getting addicted because they went in for knee surgery. Their doctor hands them some super addictive opiate to deal with their knee. They have no idea that it's super addictive, and they end up super addicted. So in some cases, it began as just looking to numb or relieve physical pain. The body gets physically addicted. The brain gets neurologically, physiologically addicted. But a lot of us begin addictions. Alcohol, drugs, food, gambling, shopping, so many things. Because there is an underlying feeling within us of emptiness, of lack, of not rightness, of pain that feels like if we allow ourselves to feel it, it's going to gobble us up. We're going to implode or explode. And so we kid ourselves quite tragically, quite maliciously, not on purpose though. We're doing it out of what seems like friendship to ourselves, to say, hey, I've got something that'll make that anger go away. Hey, I've got something that'll make that pain go away. Hey, you're not meant to suffer like this. Let me give you something to take the edge off. And we get into it really from a totally confused but very, very well-intentioned part of us. No one begins an addiction by saying, oh, I have an idea. Let's ruin my life. I have an idea. Let's start this thing today. My January 4th plan, Number one on my to-do list, get myself hooked to something really addictive, really damaging, so that it's going to take me years to get my head back above water. Nobody does that. We find ourselves in a situation in which the inner experience feels unbearable. It's anger, it's pain, it's fear, it's loneliness, it's whatever it may be. And there is a part of us that feels like, I cannot handle this. And so we look to something to help us handle it. And one of the things that I always share about addiction is it's actually a spiritual path gone awry. Because the voice that begins addiction, that says, you are not meant to suffer like this. There is a way out. This is not what your life should be. That's a very spiritual voice. It's a voice that says, hey, there's something more here. No, you're not meant to just be suffering in this way. No, there's something more. You're meant for more. The problem is that instead of turning to meditation, japa, a guru, a spiritual practice, coming to a spiritual place, we look for that which is handy and nearby. Maybe somebody recommended it, maybe it's already in our fridge, maybe we saw a commercial for it, whatever. Maybe there's a family genetic predisposition to drink. We grew up watching our parents drink. For any one of a number of reasons, we begin. Then the addiction as a physiological addiction takes over the mind, the brain, literally. In order to come out of it, we need to do many things. Number one, we need to realize that we don't need that as a crutch, that we are not so weak that we can't look at our pain, our anger, our fear. We can look at it. It's not so big. It's not so scary. It's not going to gobble us up. It's not going to cause us to implode or explode. We can look at it. And we can look at the causes of it without falling apart. We're stronger than we think we are. So that's the first part. The second part is we have to get to a place where we are prepared to kind of do anything to come out of the addiction, where we realize that the addiction itself is the cause of the problems, not the solution. Because as long as I think alcohol or drugs or food or shopping or gambling is the solution to what I'm feeling, I'm never going to come out of it. I have to shift and realize, oh, this thing I'm using to numb myself is actually the cause of my problems, not the solution to them. And we then hit what is called frequently, you hit bottom. You get to the point where there's no place but up. And it can mean a whole variety of different things for a variety of different people. But basically, it's hitting a place where we say, okay, I am ready to do anything that is required for my freedom. And it's a critical step. A lot of us want to quit, but we don't actually want to quit. And as long as you feel like you should want to quit, but you don't, so you're in the I want to quit smoking situation. I don't really want to quit, but I know I should. So I'd like to want to quit smoking, but actually I'm kind of still enjoying smoking. You're never going to get out of it. You have to actually want it. And if you don't want it yet, some of the really important questions to ask yourself are, who taught you to value yourself as nothing? Who taught you that your life is worthless? Why is it that you don't want to stop doing something that's killing you? And these are the critical questions to really ask ourselves. Because coming out of addiction is not just about stopping a behavior. It's not about willpower. It's not about just determination. It's not just grin and bear it. It's understanding why I turn to addiction in the first place. What does it offer me? And if I'm doing something that is killing myself, and I don't even want to stop, then the critical question becomes, who taught me to override the very most basic, fundamental, strongest imperative of life, from a bacteria to a mosquito to a human? Every single living aspect shares this, which is a survival instinct. Bacteria mutate. It's why when you take antibiotics the wrong way, you end up sicker and you make other people sick with your antibiotic-resistant bacteria, because they mutate. If you're supposed to take a 10-day course of antibiotics and in 3 days you feel like I'm better and you stop taking it, well, what happens? The few bacteria still left in you mutate to no longer respond to the antibiotic you took, so the next time you get sick, it doesn't work at all. Or so that when you sneeze on someone who's immunocompromised and they get sick, the antibiotic doesn't work for them because they are immunocompromised. So whether it's a bacteria, a mosquito, try catching a mosquito to kill it. Like, it doesn't sit there and go, okay. It flies all over the place. It'll do everything to avoid being killed. It is the most basic instinct of life, is to survive. So if you've got an addiction that is going to kill you, the question to ask yourself, if you don't actually want to stop, is who, because it doesn't happen automatically, who, when, and how convinced you that you are of such negligible value that your life is not even worth saving? Because when we understand that, then we are able to realize, oh my God, they were lying. Oh my God, they are wrong. And then we're able to take back the value of our life. Or the other question is, what is the pain in you that is so strong and you feel is actually going to kill you, that you would rather kill yourself with a substance than face this pain? Why do you believe that that pain is so big that it's more deadly than the cigarettes or the alcohol or the drugs or the games with food or the gambling or whatever you're doing? So we have to ask ourselves these questions. And then when you finally get to a place where you do want to stop, that's when you get to reach out to so many beautiful modalities. But what I have found on a personal level is that the relinquishing of the story that causes me pain and the willingness to sit in discomfort are critical. Critical. Because when we want to use what we are addicted to, there's a part of us that's like, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it. And it kind of drowns out everything else around us. This is the